Hey guys, that time of year again. It's the NCAA tournament. As you guys know, I love college basketball. It's my dream to be a college coach. I played for a lot of years. I watched a lot of college basketball throughout my life, especially this year, right? And I feel like I got a good pulse on the tournament. I usually do very well. My Super Bowl picks that I've been picking for 13 years, I think I might have got that right 3 times, and there's a long-standing joke. I tell everyone to bet the opposite. It's a guaranteed bet. I usually do much better in the NCAA tournament, and I want to go over some of my picks with you guys because all of you asked me about them and say, Frank, what do you think this year? Well, here it is. I'm going to start off with something cool. There's no number 1 seeds in the Final Four for me, and there's only one number 2 seed. Okay, so this is a year that if your spouse does not know anything about college basketball, have her fill out a bracket because this year is going to be crazy. It is going to be crazy. Okay, and I want to break it down now. Let's start with UConn. Have UConn coming out? Everyone has UConn winning it, of course, or Houston. Those are the main teams that are winning. I will tell you something about UConn. They're beatable, and they're coming out of the East, which is by far the hardest division. I mean, there's 3 teams literally that could win the tournament out of this division. I can't say that for any other division. So coming out of the East, and when you look at UConn, they are a great team. I've watched them play a lot this year. They're in the Big East. They're fantastic. The Big East wasn't that great this year. They have different scores all over the place when it comes to this team. I'll show you about the Big East right here. And I'm going to bring this up. Just start sharing things. So UConn was really, really good this year. How St. John's didn't make it. I mean, there's no qualifications for any team to make it, right? You talk about quad wins. You talk about record, conference record, the division you're in, strength of schedule, but there's nothing like set in stone. Like this is what you look at, right? And Izzo said it, Self said it, all the good coaches are like, we really don't know. We have all these things, but sometimes you weigh one, strength of schedule more than, some of these, conference wins, right? Or the amount of wins could be 23 over 20 wins. But if you look at St. John's, one thing that you have to see that I know so many of these teams don't have with Virginia, Wisconsin, so many teams that made it. You have 6 out of Mountain West, which is insane. 6 out. Utah State won that division. Utah State, they lost by 20 like 3 different times this year to guys in their division. Colorado State, San Diego State, whatever. Big East made 3 teams. One thing that should be a qualification is how's a team play going in? And when I look at St. John's, like right here, right, they lose to Seton Hall. Okay, well, you're going to have to win out, beat Georgetown. Creighton's a good team. Butler's actually a good team. DePaul, Georgetown, Seton Hall. And then what do? You play UConn at a neutral court, lose by 5. That's 2 possessions. I mean, you want to see how crazy that is. Look what UConn has done to like every other team. I mean, when you look at these final games, I always look at the last games going in, and they were on fire, but they're blowing out people. After they lost to Creighton, UConn, look what they've done to everybody. Blow up, blah, blah, blah. And Marquette here, Marquette's a great team. They were missing their point guard, and he's not just one of the best point guards in the Big East, one of the best point guards in the nation. He's coming back healthy. So, they're a very, very good team. But they blow out everyone. St. John's won their games going in. Then they go into Connecticut, neutral court, lose by 2 possessions. And this is a team that can make the Final 8. And you have Wisconsin and Virginia in there, and the Mountain West. You have all these teams in the Mountain West. Are you kidding me? I mean, this is a team that scores over 90 a game. I mean, these guys are on fire. These guys are on fire going. And this is a great team that should have made it. Everyone else is bitching about not making it. You want to talk about a team that's on fire who I definitely don't want to play at all. It's St. John's. So for them not to make it, it kind of pissed me off, but it is what it is. Let's get back to the bracket. FAU deserved to make it, higher seed. This is kind of coin flip, but either way, I think they get to lose to UConn here. I have Auburn coming out here. San Diego State's a really good team. Auburn is just an unbelievable team. I mean, you look at Auburn coming out of their division. It's incredible. And this is by far the toughest division. And I want to show you really quick before I get to the rest of the picks. And trust me, it's important that I'm going through this stuff because when you see it, you'll understand that it's going to result in you, what you're picking, what you're not picking. And let's go into the SEC really quick because this is by far the best division in the whole league. The Big 12 you could argue, but other than that, there's no argument here. So going to SEC, look at the teams: Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, South Carolina is just not that good. I mean, this is a team that lost. You want to know how good they are? If you really think like South Carolina, wow, they're supposed to finish last. They did pretty good. They finished second because they tied for second. But it looks like all these teams. But when you look at Tennessee, people have Tennessee winning. I have Kentucky winning. When you look at Auburn and what they did, I mean, this is a team. You like South Carolina here. I'm going to show you something. South Carolina. They beat South Carolina by 50. And then you're like, oh, okay, it's a one-off. Then they beat them by 30. Right? And then they zip through all these teams like nothing and beat everybody. I mean, their 2 losses at Kentucky, Tennessee. This is a team. Mississippi State was red hot going in. I mean, this is a team that's great. That's great defensively. Who was playing great going into the tournament. I thought they were going to beat Auburn. I mean, Auburn could play all styles of basketball. They could run up and down the field. They could just up and down the court. They could play fast. They could play slow. They hit the shots. Play defense. They're going to have a lot of fights in the game. They like to push and shove. It's a team that has an attitude. Again, I don't like their coach because he's destroyed every team, Bruce Pearl, that he's left. But when I'm looking at Auburn is just a really, really good team. Iowa State, also a great team. Washington State, a really good team. I love this game going in. I think this is a great bet, Washington State. This is a really, really good, underrated team. But they're going up against Iowa State, who did what? They beat Houston by 30 in a championship in the Big 12. By 30, right? And they beat everyone in front of them, Iowa State. So, Iowa State and Illinois, I mean, these are two. Look at all these teams. I'm sorry. I said 1, 2, Auburn, 3, and then UConn. I mean, 4 teams that could easily win the national championship, and you wouldn't be surprised. Illinois has been playing great. So this is a tough division. Why I'm saying, hey, you know what? I wouldn't take Connecticut. I think Auburn's going to be Connecticut. It's going to be a tough matchup for them. I think this is going to be a coin flip. I like Auburn here. And let's go to this side. Houston, pretty easy run. Texas A&M's a really, really good team. I watched them beat Kentucky. If they play like that, they have a great defense, but they were hitting shots. Kentucky couldn't even make a run on them. I mean, I think Kentucky's great. They just ran into a buzzsaw because Texas played, an unbelievable game. But I have Houston going out because, again, one of the top defensive efficiency ranked teams, the top, but their offense isn't that good. I don't know how you recover from losing by 30 the game before. I mean, when have we seen that, guys, in the NCAA tournament where the number 1 seeds, 3 of them lost their last game heading into the tournament? And Purdue lost to Wisconsin. Wisconsin's one of the shittiest teams ever. You have North Carolina got killed by NC State. Killed. Wasn't even close. And then you have Houston losing by 30. Those are 3 of the number 1 seeds out of 4, right? Which is crazy. So that's why it's going to be a fun year. But, going into here, I have Kentucky going pretty far. Texas Tech's decent. Again, NC State made a nice run. I can't picture these guys exhausted. I mean, and Texas Tech's a good team. I have Kentucky moving out. Florida would have been one of my sleepers, but, it's sad that they're, one of the best players who's, the leading rebounder. I mean, broke his leg really bad. They had to carry him off. It was really disgusting in terms of, just, I don't even know how they played the game in the finals against Auburn, but, and they're going to go up against Marquette. Marquette's a great team. The point guard, you have to see if he's healthy. If he's healthy, these guys are good. That's why this game's going to be really good. Wouldn't be surprised if Marquette beats Kentucky, but I like Kentucky here. If they both play their best game, Kentucky's going to beat them. So let's go to the bottom half really quick. North Carolina, again, I don't know what North Carolina team's going to show up. I know that the ACC, for the first time in a long time, I never thought I'd say this, the ACC was really bad this year, right? I mean, I don't know. To me, when I looked at it, it was horrible. So, and let me see once this clicks in and gets in with the site over here. But when I look at the ACC to me right here is just it's. I thought it would be tougher. I really did. So North Carolina, Duke, right, and you have Virginia, who's hard. I have no idea how Virginia made the tournament. Virginia is just such a bad team. I mean, Clemson made it. Right, you're looking at these teams. Look how horrible all the way down. I mean, this is the worst year I've ever seen. Right, even Duke is not really that good. So North Carolina did well. I thought if they won a tournament, they got a lot of momentum. They won a lot of games. But how does Virginia? How do you dare allow Virginia to make the tournament? I mean, look at this at the end of the year. I mean, you look at 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the last 7 games you lost. And who'd you beat? Georgia Tech and Boston College. You lose to NC State. I mean, you lose to Pitt. This is a team that I have no idea. Like, coming down the stretch, how do you make it? I mean, it's just such a bad team. So to me, that was really frustrating. But when I look at North Carolina, they're just not really in that good of a division. I have them going pretty far. This Mississippi State game and Michigan State's going to be one of the best. I have Mississippi State winning. Michigan State's another team. I have no idea how they made it. Izzo's in for 26 years. I know Michigan State always plays well. Mississippi State they're raw. This is a team. I was surprised Auburn beat them. They're really hot right now. They look good. They're all over you defensively. They look like they have 6 guys playing defense. They grab rebounds like crazy. Well coached. And I haven't beaten Michigan State. I know Izzo usually does good during the tournaments. They shouldn't have made it this year. If they get to this game, North Carolina could lose. We'll see. Just because of this game, I don't have Mississippi State. I don't want Michigan State to win. But otherwise, I would lose it. Otherwise, I have Mississippi State beating North Carolina. But let's get North Carolina down here and have St. Mary's. St. Mary's, one of the top defensive efficiency teams in America. I think they're ranked like 2 or 3. This is a really, really solid team, guys. So people are picking Gonzaga over here, Gonzaga to make the Final Four. They beat Gonzaga twice. This is what a great, great, great team that's been under the radar all year and haven't gone to the Final Four. Alabama's a decent team. I saw Auburn absolutely wreck them, though. I think St. Mary's is better. Clemson, I think, is horrible. New Mexico's a good team. I love Baylor here. Arizona, I don't like. They're not in a good division. Every time I think they're okay, they falter. They haven't really had a good strength of schedule. I think they make it far because Dayton's easy, Long Beach State's easy, but I think when they run into Baylor or New Mexico, I think it's going to be Baylor that they're going to lose. And I have Baylor here against St. Mary's and St. Mary's winning. And then on this side, Purdue. Again, I'm not high on Purdue. I don't think they're going to go anywhere, but they have a really easy schedule. I think this TCU game is going to be really tough. TCU is very, very good. If they happen to play TCU, or I think it's going to be Utah State, this is going to be a really tough game for Purdue. I also have Kansas in here. As you guys know, I'm a Kansas fan. I have a big upset here with McNeese State over Gonzaga. Gonzaga's only favored by 6 here. Oregon's been good. Came out with their win. South Carolina, I don't think is that good. You have Creighton, I think, is a good team. Texas, and we have Tennessee. And I have Tennessee going pretty far. Match up with Creighton here. And Tennessee moving on. And I have Kansas here against Purdue, which might be a surprise because people are saying, well, Samford is really, really good, and they're awesome. I want to show you something about Kansas. And of course, I'm going to be biased because they're my favorite team, but just hear me out really quick. So let's go back and because if you're looking at this team, you're looking at they're in the toughest division, which is Big 12, one of the toughest division. I think SEC was tougher this year, but let's go and let me see if I can blow this up a little bit more. So let's look at Kansas here, okay? And you look at Kansas, why are they off everyone's radar? Why do they think they're going to lose? If you're looking at their schedules, because look what they did towards the end of the season, right? 1, 2, 4 out of 5 losses. Well, McCullough's their best player, and he was out 5 games. He tried to play against Houston. He wasn't effective, and then their best player, which is Dickinson, the second best player, got hurt. So they didn't have both of those guys during this game. Now, the knock against Kansas is their bench wasn't that deep, but in these games, their bench played a lot, and they got really good. Okay, they lost, but they got really good. Now you're getting back your 2 best players. Now, how good was Kansas when they had their 2 best players? Well, let me tell you something. I'm picking Kentucky to win it. They beat Kentucky. People are picking Tennessee to win it. They beat Tennessee. Remember UConn? Everyone's picking UConn. They beat UConn. I mean, you're talking about, this is a real team. Oklahoma's ranked. They were ranked a lot higher. You're looking at they beat Houston. I mean, they beat almost all the number 1 seeds, right? And number 2 seeds. Baylor, another good team. So this is a team that was red hot. I know coming in, I hate the momentum here, but they had their players that their 2 best players, and McCullough's the best defender on the team and the highest scorer on the team, by far the best player, even better than Dickinson. Both of them didn't play these 2 games. They only played half this Houston game. They're going to come back if they can get a little momentum, and plus they finally got those players who were supposed to be good that they recruited at Kansas, started playing really well even though they lost here. These guys could click. They're going to be dangerous. Don't sleep on them. I know. Believe me. It's Kansas, and they didn't look good here, but there's a reason when you have your best players sitting out, they're going to be at full strength going in. And they're not saying a word. No one's interviewing Bill Self. No one's talking about Kansas at all. They're saying they're going to lose to Stanford, which I think they're favored in double digits. They should win that game. That's going to be an interesting game to me. So I have Tennessee beating Purdue, St. Mary's coming out, and then I have my final 4 guys, which is Auburn, St. Mary's, Kentucky, and Tennessee. I have Kentucky beating Tennessee. I have Auburn beating St. Mary's, so Auburn, Kentucky, and then I have Kentucky winning it all. So if you want to know of a couple of good bets, I do like New Mexico over Clemson. I do like Mississippi State. These are all over the place. So really quick, I have, let's see which ones. I like Washington State. Washington State's a really, really good team under the radar. I think it's a good bet in the first round. Mississippi State, I love over Michigan State. They're a much better team than Michigan State. And that spread's kind of tight. I think New Mexico blows out Clemson. Clemson, I have no idea why they're even in this tournament. And on this side, let's see. I have a couple of, I have McNeese getting, I think, 6 points against Gonzaga. I saw Gonzaga play about 4 times this year. They're a bad team. I think they're high at being ranked number 5. They were not good. I mean, they're usually good. They're really good. They're just not a good team. They're just not that good this year. It's not like, oh, it's Gonzaga and the name Gonzaga, but they're really not a good team. And haven't found a way to figure it out this year. I like TCU over Utah State. These are just first round things that I like. And let me see if there's anything else here. Duke, Vermont, Wisconsin. I like James Madison over Wisconsin. Wisconsin is just Man, they're just a weird team, but James Madison is a real team. They're really, really good. Don't look at them as a 12 seed. This is a team that runs and guns, and they have one player on a team that's probably going to NBA, maybe lottery. But those are the first round games I like. But like I said earlier, guys, if you get a chance, have someone fill out the bracket that's not used to filling out the bracket. Everyone's going to be picking UConn because every other number one seed lost pretty bad going in. So everyone's like, UConn. They're in the toughest bracket. They're not as good as they were last year. They're beatable. If they win, I wouldn't be surprised. Again, this is a good team. They're deep. They have different scorers. They have a great backcourt. They move the ball well. But they're not dominant, and they didn't play in that good of a division. What I'm just saying is that they're beatable. And if you don't have UConn and you have somebody else winning there, you get that winner coming out of that bracket, you're going to be in really, really good shape to win your tournament bracket. So there it is, the Final Four. Questions, comments, or if you want to make fun of me, my picks, which if all four of my Final Four teams lose in the first round, feel free to email me, frank@curzioresearch.com, and hopefully you can win some money with a couple of those bets that I just gave you. So, good luck with your tournaments, good luck with your brackets, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care.